Hello and welcome. This is going to be lecture number 3 for conceptual physics. Go ahead, get out your notes, put the lecture number and the date at the top. We're going to be talking about the scientific method and the difference between a law, a theory, and a fact today. All right, I'm going to embed a question here for you to write down everything you remember about the scientific method. Okay, so now let's take notes on this together. What is the scientific method? Well, it all starts with identifying a problem. So number 1, identify a problem. All right. Then in step 2, you make a hypothesis. All right, a hypothesis is what you think a possible answer to the problem could be. All right, in step 3, you're going to make a testable prediction. So if your hypothesis is true, under some sort of experimental conditions, we would expect something to happen. And then in step 4, we test the prediction. So you actually do the experiment. And then in step 5, we summarize the results. So let's go through this method really quick with a problem that you might face in your life and how you could apply the scientific method to coming up with a solution. So let's imagine that you're trying to make toast one morning and you realize that your toaster isn't working. You're pushing the button and it's not starting to heat up. So what are you going to do? Well, first we identify the problem. The toaster isn't working. Next, we're going to make a hypothesis. Well, maybe the heating element has burnt out and the toaster is just broken. So if that was true, can we make a testable prediction? So if that was true, then switching the toaster from one outlet to a different outlet shouldn't affect whether or not it works because the problem is inside the toaster. At least that's our prediction. So then we're going to test that prediction. We're going to take the toaster to a different spot in the kitchen. We're going to plug it in and see what happens. And then either the toaster will turn on or it won't. And then from that, we can draw a conclusion about whether or not the toaster is broken, or maybe we have an issue with our electrical outlet, or maybe something else is going on. So, we all go through this process on a daily basis as we face different problems, but we might not have realized that we're using the scientific method to attack those problems. Next thing I want to talk about are these 3 words in science that we use a lot, and sometimes we use them interchangeably, but they are somewhat different: fact versus law versus theory. So let's start with what are facts. So facts are simple observations. These are just the measurements we can make about the outside world. A law is an attempt to relate different observations, and often it's in the form of some sort of equation. So it relates observations often with a formula. And then there is the theory. In the theory, sure, the next for some reason, explains why. All right, laws make no attempt to explain why something might be happening. The theory explains why. Now, often we progress from facts to laws to theories, but these three things still stand separately. Laws do not become theories. Laws stand independently, and then theories attempt to explain those laws. But they do not take the place of those laws. That's just something really important to note here. Laws don't just become theories. Laws stand down on their own, and theories attempt to explain those. All right, so an example of all of this would be something like gravity. So the simple observations we might make with gravity is that when we drop objects, they fall to the earth. We can make lots and lots of observations of that same thing happening. The law of gravity is what Newton first described, the equation that related how the mass of two objects affects the gravitational force between them. And this is just an equation. The theory is then the theory of relativity, which was invented some 300 years later by Einstein, which attempted to explain the law of gravity first described by Newton. So that law never went away, but relativity then attempted to explain it. Okay, so hopefully that all made sense and you took good notes on it. I'll embed a few more questions here, but that's that for this lecture video, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.